Hello everyone, this is the Chubby Funster. Welcome to the sixth part of my deep analysis of Curse of Strahd. I'm going to be pursuing the Wereraven plotline to the Wizard of Wine Winery and then further to the Yester Hill to stop the Druids and recover the stolen gem. Of course, there will be spoilers. The Martikov family in Valaki asks you to check on the Wizard of Wine's situation. I know I said this in part 5, but it's crazy to me how nonchalant and simple this ask is, and how crazy it is that they are asking this as were-ravens that can fly. Just to the west of Valaki is a crossroads, which they devote all this space to, and it really could have been covered in like 2 sentences. Always check for random encounters here. One of the road signs has been knocked over and partially covered in brush. It was pointing south. It says Berez. It's so frustrating that they burn space like this in the book on just terrible crap. But I tell you what, let's kill 2 ravens with 1 stone. Change this encounter to a bunch of black feathers drifting around in the wind, a large bird beak lying in the road, ripped off of a body recently with a few bits of rotting flesh still clinging to it, maybe one bony were-raven foot a few yards away. How hard is that? Took me 2 minutes to think up and write down. Now, at least there is some reason why people don't know what's going on at the winery. I'm starting to really get annoyed by this build it yourself crap. Now we can proceed to the winery. It was founded by a mage that used 3 magic gems to enchant the land and make it more productive. As I mentioned in part 5, one of the gems went missing 10 years ago, and the location is not provided anywhere in the module. It doesn't even tell you to pick a location. I suggested placing it with Lady Voctor in Valaki, but you can put it anywhere you want. The second gem was stolen by Baba Lysaga, a shape-changing witch, and the third gem was recently stolen by Druids. Druids that have taken over the vineyard and are in the process of poisoning the vats. I've been getting a lot of comments on these videos about Curse of Strahd. Many of them talk about TPKs that result from the PCs doggedly pursuing a particular goal and then getting wiped out. So let's break this down. WotC says the stuff in Valaki is appropriate for level 4s, the Wizard of Wines is for level 5s, and if you pursue the Druids to Yester Hill, that is for level 6s. Now you'll probably go back to Valaki for a bit, but if you pursue the other gem, Baby Lysaga is for level 8s. And WotC is absolutely terrible at foreshadowing danger. Baba Lysaga is a monster in a ruin that's got a few scarecrows, challenge rating 1, wandering around outside. So you think, oh, this place is cool, and then bam, she hits you hard. I see a lot of modules, not just Curse of Strahd, that create a rope-a-dope dynamic where the PCs are kind of duped into situations that are too challenging for them, and when they overextend themselves, that's when they get TPK'd. I think it's great to have an open landscape with lots of content at different power levels. It encourages players to be cautious and evaluate situations before throwing themselves into danger. But don't set up rope-a-dope story paths that lure them into a false sense of confidence so they handle one situation and the next and the next, and then bam, all of a sudden it's too hard. You're just going to kill them. Anyway, let's talk about this winery. The Martikovs notice the party's approach and beckon for them to come talk at first. But they won't tell you about the missing gems until after you clear the winery. Fair enough. But they also offer no useful tips to help you clear the winery. No hidden features, no useful intelligence, no locations of items that might be of assistance. And approaching the winery itself triggers an encounter with 30 needle blights and layers of reinforcement over a period of 5 rounds. These reinforcements constitute the entire enemy force within the winery, except the one leader that has the Gulthias staff that if you destroy it, it will kill all the blights. The Wereravens either don't know or don't share this information with you. So what I thought was a 3-level dungeon when I did my initial overview of the book in part 1 is not actually a dungeon. It's one of those 4E style encounter maps that's disguised as a dungeon. and there are 3 big clusters of monsters that will come charging out to support their comrades, unless the characters hide inside the winery first and barricade it, which is probably the dumbest tactical move I would ever expect my players to take. Players don't run into the enemy so that they can be flanked from behind. That is stupid. Now, the druid leader that has the Gulthias staff is alone at the loading winch. Killing him would massively affect the battle, and you could get to him by coming up through the loading dock, or by sneaking into the master bedroom and using a secret door, or by climbing up on the roof of the stables and going through the window. But the Wereravens, who can see almost everything with their raven spies, don't tell you this. They even have multiple raven spies in the winery listed in the text as non-hostile unless you provoke them. And there's also a secret door in the wine cellar protected by brown mold on the outside that could be used to sneak in secretly. No one tells you all this, and you couldn't reach it anyway without triggering the scripted encounter where 30 needle blights descend on you when you get close. It's like they don't want you to make tactical use of the winery at all. Why have keyed entries for all of these rooms if you don't want the players to really explore them? And most of the descriptions are terrible and worthless anyway. Oh, the Wereravens left behind the wooden sandals they used to crush the wine. Thank God you told us about that. And the only thing important going on here is that the Druids are poisoning the wine, but even that is obvious and can be fixed with level 1 Purify Food and Drink spell. So how dangerous is this shit anyway? And I'm pretty sure you're not looting the Wereravens. So the treasure chest in the master bedroom is basically worthless unless you're going to steal from the good guys you're allied with, which means the only real treasure here is the wine delivery that you can make to one of 3 possible locations to produce different outcomes. And if the PCs don't deal with the druids at Yester Hill quickly, they will create a massive tree blight and destroy the entire winery. But no guidance is provided on how long that ritual takes to perform. So you have a supposedly good aligned Wereraven family that doesn't talk to each other, that won't give you any tips on how to help clear their own winery, which is a multi-level dungeon map that you can't really use because the first encounter causes all the enemies to rush outside except the one that killing first would be tactically useful to do. And after you defeat all that, they tell you that the druids are at Yester Hill, but not that there's an impending ritual to create a tree blight that will destroy the entire winery. And none of these things are operating on a timer for the GM to easily track. And as I discussed in part 5, this family has nothing useful in any of the other political plots that are going down in Vallaki.
What a piece of junk!
So what can be done to salvage this mess? First off, the Wereravens should know things, a lot of things, useful things, like the location of secret doors, maybe a potion or 2 that they hid inside, and the location of the druid with that Gulthias staff. And they should be able to describe a variety of ways that you can sneak past the needle blights that are outside, and they should even be able to organize a distraction to draw those things away from the winery in the first place. And they should have a scroll of icy burst that can wipe out that brown mold guarding the secret entrance to the cellar. Of course they should have this if that's their secret entrance in and out of their house. Why would somebody owning a place with brown mold not have a way of killing that brown mold? And spread the enemies out across various rooms, digging around, looking for something. Roll 1d4 and determine that that's the druid that has the staff. This corresponds with whatever information the Wereravens give them, but make it more random. And give that druid a shopping list. Herbs, fruits, stuff that they need to complete the ritual to summon the tree blight, stuff that is also in wine. And write down that list in Druidic and make him get translated if they don't know how to read it. But at least there's some clue that the Druids are planning something big. And make the poison already in the vats. Not obviously in the vats, but already there. Make the players think they have a lot more wine than there currently is down there on the book, and they have to do something with it. And when they do, it kills roughly 20% of the people that drink it if they don't check it out first. They should be asking themselves, why are there so many druids still here? Why are they still screwing around in the winery? And if they can't figure out that that's what's there, then they have to reap the consequences of that politically and physically. That is the nature of the situation. It shouldn't be just an easy in and out. Oh, I cured everything that the bad guys did. I just fixed it in 5 seconds. And when they do investigate Yester Hill, the surrounding area should be thick with twig and needle blights, so it's much harder to sneak up on. As written, you can just walk right up undetected. What the hell? Who decides this crap? And there's a circle of boulders on top of the hill, and if you climb on top of them, you have a 10% chance of being struck by lightning. That's actually cool. So mixed in with all this dumb stuff, there are occasionally cool things. And inside the circle is a giant statue of Strahd made out of wood, which contains the stolen gem, and that's what they're going to animate into the tree blight. And there are 6 druids and berserkers hidden within what appear to be graves. They are sleeping in these graves to honor Strahd. This is also really cool. It lets them jump up and ambush the PCs at close range. But what this means is that they thought of this really cool idea for the druids and berserkers, for whom this is the one and only base of operations on the whole map, but they didn't add it anywhere else. There are druids and berserkers in the random encounter tables, but they don't lie down in hidden graves. And there's a berserker hunting party in the Amber Temple, and they don't do that. The GM could be building up the legends of these people with creepy encounters all over the map when they burst out of the ground or they rise up from the mist, like seems like they just appeared out of nowhere. And WotC came up with that idea and only implemented it in this one place, one time.
You are really dumb, for real.
And on the other side of the hill is the Gulthias tree. If you destroy it, there can't be any more blights. But wait, what's this I see? The scale on this map is 1 square for 50 feet. That means this is a really big hill. And the Druid and Berserker encounter is only triggered if someone approaches or damages the statue, if they're discovered or attacked. And the blights just protect the tree. There's no coordination between these two groups. That's what I mean when I say this adventure is being siloed. Even on the same hill, the encounter triggers act as if you're in a damn video game and there's no cooperation. Or it is the exact opposite, like at the winery where one encounter empties the entire dungeon out into the field, assuming absolutely perfect coordination. So which is it? Can the druids talk to the blights, or what? What is the actual game logic here? Were these places written by different people who didn't even know what the hell the other one was doing?
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid as stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
I wish you the best of luck implementing the Martikov family storyline. It will probably feel a lot like you're taking an inert object, like a stick or a branch, and animating it with the magic of your own brain, if you can even imagine something like that. In part 7, I'm going to dive into the village of Krezhik and the nearby tower of Rudolf van Richten. Stay tuned. Chubby Funster out.